we are happy to have Gabriel René, founder and CEO of Versus Technologies, back on the show for the second time, talking all about AI. Great to see you, Gabriel. Welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's a very hot topic right now. Lots of headlines, lots of people focused on this. For anyone who maybe wasn't with us during the first interview when we had you on the show, let's just start wide here, talk a little bit about the company, talk a little bit about the premise and the idea behind this, because this is an entire operating system that we're talking about here.
Well, I think much like we saw Apple innovate in 2000, about 15 years ago, the last real major computing trend in the smartphone era, they built out an operating system and essentially an ecosystem that allowed third-party developers to build millions of applications, it's an app for anything, on the smartphone. This resulted in billions of users over the last 15 years and trillions of dollars in value. AI is the new software revolution, and we've seen this pointedly really come out in the last just 4 weeks, with ChatGPT going to 1 million users in 5 days, which is exponentially faster than any other application or website in history. Netflix, I think, took practically a year. So we're seeing AI suddenly explode. 2023 is going to be the year of AI, and we're kind of shifting from the information age to the intelligence age. And what Versus is doing is essentially built out a COSM, our COSM platform, which is an operating system that allows developers to build out AI applications for anything, very similar to what Apple did with iOS and the App Store. So we're rolling up to launch that capability in 2024 and the App Store in 25. To start, we started building our own AI applications on the COSM platform. These were for warehouse workers, having an AI assistant route workers through warehouses more effectively and efficiently. It became such a hit that the largest warehouse management provider in the world, Blue Yonder, is signed a deal with us to resell our AI routing solution to their 3,000 global customers, which is some of the largest brands and distributors in the world. And we announced that just a couple of months ago, and we should start to see real traction on that in Q2. As we roll into Q3, Q4, the rest of the year, you're going to start to see third-party app developers developing on our application. Just like that shift between 2007 and 2008, where Steve Jobs came out and said, here's the iPhone, there's 10 apps on it. 2008, they roll out the App Store, and all of a sudden there's 500 apps, and here we are today, right at the beginning of the next software revolution, which is going to be led by artificial intelligence.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit further here. This is a fascinating topic, and I think everyone has, with, as you mentioned, ChatGPT taking off the way it has, really, it's something that is on the front of everyone's mind, as we were saying, but it's so involved as a idea as itself. Let's dig into it a little bit further here. The company Versus just released its most recent white paper. In that, there's a really interesting number that you project the AI market to grow to 1.34 trillion. I should say, guys, we can show that if you want to put that up on screen. There it is right there. So the global AI market projected to grow as much as $1.34 trillion by the end of the decade. Talk a little bit about this white paper and what you were able to find.
Well, that's data that came from Precedence Research, which had just done an analysis on this artificial intelligence market size. Today, we're roughly at about, let's say, $150 billion market. If you put this in contrast again to the smartphone revolution, by 2030, we're talking about a 10x growth in AI software revenues. And the smartphone, the mobile application market would hit 725, so roughly about half of that by 2030, having already been around for 15 years. So you're looking at 4x growth in half of the time, sorry, quarter of the time. So part of this is because the applications for AI for enterprise and industrial and government are going to be a big piece of that. And so the analysis that we've been doing, the white paper that we just released, basically outlines a bit of a shift from the type of AIs that are becoming popular today towards a different type of AI, which is called artificial general intelligence. This is the holy grail of what everyone wants to achieve with AI, and that's the ability to have these software agents that actually can adapt. So one of the challenges with autonomous vehicles today is that they only learn whatever was in the training data. When we say big data is what these AIs learn on, and then they basically recognize patterns from that data, and then they can apply those in a certain set of situations. If a situation emerges that was not able to be extracted from the training data, the car doesn't know what to do. The robot doesn't know what to do. The application doesn't know what to do. And so a lot of the concerns we have around AI, around bias, around its decision-making, and about it being a black box that we can't really inspect, get solved when you are able to have artificial general intelligence agents. And some of the breakthroughs that we've been making at Versus and the work of Professor Carl Friston, who's the top computational neuroscientist in the world, just joined the company as chief scientist, has an approach to essentially enable artificial general intelligence as part of the COSM platform that we'll be rolling out next year, enabling a whole new class of artificial intelligence agents. It's a bit of a leap, like from the BlackBerry to the iPhone, if you will, in the same era, and certainly part of the mobile computing era. We're talking about doing the same thing now, and our white paper basically outlines our approach to that.
It's, I mean, an ever-growing topic and fascinating, as I mentioned, Gabriel. Where, for everyone watching, where are we going to see this first? Where is the everyday, normal person just trying to go about their normal lives? Where are we going to see this really affect our daily lives first?
Well, there's certainly some debate about that. Let's talk about the first community that's affected, which is the developer community. So there's millions of people developing smartphone applications, which is what billions of us are using today. That is affecting our lives. It's how we select how we're going to travel or purchase a house, or how we order something online, or the games that we play, and the media we watch. The smartphone has become the interface. So those developers are the first ecosystem. What's happening now with artificial intelligence like GPT is people are starting to take that chat bot, which has all this understanding that's crawled from around the web, and build an application for marketing companies that are able to then generate copywriting for their websites in seconds instead of days, right? Or there's one called, so that's one called Jasper.ai. These are, you're seeing $500 million to $1 billion valuations for companies that are less than, if months, if not less than a year old. Rally is another one that's coming out that's going to enable lawyers to essentially, I hate to say this, lawyers are going to get taken out of the picture here, and you're not going to go to LegalZoom to ask for a contract. You're going to go to Rally and say, here's the situation, create a contract for me from scratch, right? And so where people are going to start to see this is that it's kind of like autocomplete in text, but that's going to start happening in all these places. And then chat's going to become the main interface. And the big question right now today, which is $10 billion potential investment into OpenAI from Microsoft, is Microsoft making this purchase in order to include ChatGPT into their Bing search algorithm. Instead of asking for search results, you just ask it a question and it gives you an answer. And the big sort of threat on the field here is that Google and search is perhaps over as we know it. I do think that it's in transition. Again, this is no longer about searching for information. It's going to be about something that gives you recommendations, gives you answers. So whether that's for a new fitness routine or a diet, or advice on what new investment you need to make, we're going to start to have hundreds and thousands of these different companies popping up that are going to offer these agents that are going to become the new apps for everything.
And Gabriel, in your mind, what happens when that happens? Because it's only a matter of time, let's be honest, before one of these is connected to the internet and there's unlimited information. I was reading on the weekend that ChatGPT currently has a database that goes back to 2021, or only goes up to 2021, and then
that's great.
And that's it. So what happens when the floodgates open here?
I mean, this is a Cambrian explosion of intelligent software. We're going to the sci-fi age now. We've already crossed the threshold. It was somewhere around Christmas, and right now it's just like the first few raindrops. But the storm is coming, and so the real question is, as a retail investor, where do you play? Because almost all of these investments in these early companies for the next 5 years are going to be VC. It's going to be private money in venture-backed small startups that become the next Google, the next Apple, the next Facebook. Versus is one of the very few, and I argue the only pure play horizontal AI company in the public markets that's a micro cap today and could be something much more tomorrow. So I think we're uniquely positioned both by our business approach, which is let's enable this next generation of developers to build those millions of applications for billions of people. However, we're also one of the only companies that are available here in the public markets in the AI wave as the wave is just getting started. So come aboard, the water's fine.
Yeah, great place to leave it off. VERS, guys, you can see on the bottom of the screen there on the NEO exchange here in Toronto. VRSF on the OTCQX listing in the US. As I mentioned, Gabriel, I am personally very excited about this. I know everyone else is as well. Founder and CEO of Versus Technologies, Gabriel, René, a pleasure as always.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.